Hey, how are you? It's Jess back with another wrap-up video. So, I'm doing my February wrap-up video. In January's video, I said I had read probably the most books I'd ever read in a month, and I beat that in this month. I read 16 books in February. For the shortest month, my husband was like, that's almost a book. That's like over a book every 2 days. He was right. I did the math. It was like a book every 1.8 days or something like that. It was wild. I read so many books. So we're going to just jump right into it. I'll go ahead and tell you what I read and my rating for each book and maybe a little bit about it. So first off, I read For the Throne by Hannah Winton. The prompt for this was like second chance author. And I'm glad I finished the series. I wasn't my favorite. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't wow. It wasn't like great, the greatest thing I've ever read. So 3 stars. This is the continuation of the Wilderwood. It's actually the conclusion of the Wilderwood duology. It was good. It was average. It was very average. I don't know that I would read this duology again. But I also don't know that I'm quite ready to unhaul it. But primarily because they're really beautiful books. And I'm a sucker for a beautiful cover. And they look really cool on my shelf. Also, I may try them again and really like them. Or my daughter may read them and really like them. So 3 stars for me. Not bad, just not great. The next book we'll talk about is The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. This is the second in behind the X-Hex. This follows different main characters, but tightly connected to the characters in the first book, the X-Hex. So this again, not my favorite. I did give it 4 stars, and I believe I liked it better than the X-Hex, I believe. I really liked Wells in this book. I thought Wells was awesome, and I did love the way these 2 characters grew in this book. I didn't love Gwen in the beginning, and I ended up really liking her in the end. So either she grew on me or she grew as a character. Either could be true. So this was 4 stars. I'm pretty sure I read this one after For the Throne. And so I probably, anything I read after For the Throne, I probably would have given a higher score to. So, if I choose to reread these 2 books, or if I choose to reread this one, I don't know if that would stand that 4 stars. It might go to a 3. Just because as I was sitting here, I thought I had rated this 3 stars. So I'm not 100% sure why I did 4. But it'll stand for now. And if I ever reread it, we'll see if it changes. So next, I read A Court of Frost and Starlight. So this one, in my February TBR video, I had said I was going to need to be forced to read this. And that was true. I needed to be forced to read this. I enjoyed it. But it's just so little, and it feels almost incomplete. But I gave this one 4 stars. So really, to be honest, I don't know why I gave it 4 stars. I'm apparently very generous with my star ratings. It's just okay. I don't remember anything about this being like super awesome. This one I might switch to a 3. Because next, after that one, I read A Court of Silver Flames. And, well, let's see what I gave this one. Let's just see. Yeah, I gave this one 4 stars too. I would say that this stands as a 4-star book for me. I would change, and I probably will change the rating of Frost and Starlight to 3. But A Court of Silver Flames, I like Nesta. I like that she's prickly. I like that she's pissed off about, what happened to her. I like that there was conflict in her character, and her arc was awesome. Cassian's not my favorite of the 3. The 3 guys, Illyrians. I couldn't think of the word, but I do appreciate who he was to Nesta in this book, and I do appreciate also his character development and growth. There was so much unnecessary smut in this book. This book would have been a solid book with a quarter of the stuff in it. So the lovin' stuff. But all that to say, it was a 4-star. I stand by this 4-star, and I'm going to change Frost and Starlight to 3. So those were those. And celebration hands. I'm a preschool teacher, so we do celebration hands, I'm all caught up on that series, which feels really cool. That's a really cool accomplishment. I have both Crescent City and Throne of Glass that I'm terrified to start. But I've got to do it eventually. Okay. After that, we have, these are in no particular order, by the way. I just read I read these books. I read my TBR books first, and then I mood read the rest of the month. So the next one we're going to talk about is Once Upon a Broken Heart. I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I did enjoy this book. I'm nervous going on just based on some of the things that I've heard and seen out there from other people. I'm nervous to continue this series. I haven't got the other books yet because I'm nervous. So I really liked Jax, actually. I liked his dubious character. Evangeline, she was okay. I remember thinking in this book while I was reading this that it was the most chaotic book I've ever read. As in, like, this has like everything in it. It has like fairies and dragons and magic and curses and goblins, and it just has absolutely everything in it. Everything that you could throw at a fantasy book, this apparently has in it. And some of it is just touched on. Some of it is drawn out in more details. But I just was like, okay, this is just basically a very magical world. But anyway, all that to say, I did give it 4 stars because I enjoyed Jax's character a lot. And I was okay with Evangeline. I wasn't mad at her or anything, but I felt like this was a little above average. So I gave it 4. I also don't do half stars. I don't have time to mess with half stars. So it's just either a solid star or it's no star. So that one I finally got to and finished. This one actually may have been on this may have been a TBR vet prompt. I can't remember. Anyhow, I read it and I gave it 4 stars. Okay. I finished this book on the very last day of February. It barely squeaked in as a finish, but this is Raiders of the Lost Heart. I surprisingly liked this. I thought it was going to be kind of campy, kind of silly, but I liked it. My rating system is messed up. What is happening? I only gave this 3 stars. I think because it was a little, the dialogue between the main 2 characters was, it was kind of insta-lovey. There was not a lot of background given between them before it was like, oh, we're wildly attracted to each other and now we're, together. But, I mean, it was cute. I really liked the plot. I liked the archaeology aspect and the digs that they were on, and I liked that. I also liked the format of the book a lot. Each chapter has these really pretty headings. It's a weird thing. Maybe it's a weird thing to like. Maybe it's not. But yeah, I gave this one 3 stars. I would stand by that, and I would probably bump. I don't know. I need to look at my rating system. Maybe it's just how I feel by the time I finish a book. Who knows? But yeah, 3 stars for Raiders of the Lost Heart. So the next one we'll talk about is Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. This was my first foray into an Ali Hazelwood book, and I stinking loved it. I loved these characters. I loved the science element in it. I loved the silly quotes at the top. Each chapter has kind of like a sciencey brain chapter title, and I really loved it. It was serious but not too serious, fun but not so fun that it's detracting from the seriousness of the plot. I loved the characters. Actually, I love the characters in all of these books. It was hard for me to choose which one I liked the best, but I'll tell you at the end. So this is 4 stars. I loved this. I immediately hopped into, after Love on the Brain, Love Hypothesis, which I, again, gave 4 stars. I loved Olive and I loved Adam. These were my favorite characters. Olive and Adam, and then B and Levi, and then Jack and Elsie were how I would rate my favorite characters and storylines. I loved Love Hypothesis. I thought it was so sweet and cute. I loved Adam and Olive. I loved their the way they interact. I just loved everything about this book. And I believe I gave this one also 4 stars. I will double check. Yep, 4 stars for this, and I know it was 4 stars for Love Hypothesis. Or, I'm sorry, Love Theoretically, which, yeah, 4 stars for Love Theoretically. This one was my least favorite, and I don't fully know why. I can't fully tell you why. I don't know if it was just the characters or the plot. I don't fully know. I do know that I loved all 3 of these books. I seriously listened to each one of these in a day. That's how much I loved them. I couldn't put them down. I couldn't stop. So, yeah, I love these. I have on my list of books to get is Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. And I picked up Bride. I'm a little scared to read Bride simply because There's some things I've heard. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. The next book that we'll talk about, we're going to kind of go off of my tablet for this one. So I finished the Dreamland Billionaire series in the month of February. I read The Final Offer. So this one was on my TBR as like a technology vibe. That was the prompt for it. And I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I think it was my favorite out of the 3. I think it was. I will say that it was my favorite out of the 3 because I really, really liked Cal. I really liked Cal. And I liked their history that was they had all of this baggage and history that they brought in, but they worked so hard. He worked so hard in this book to become a better person and to overcome like his struggles and the things that made him a bummer to be around, honestly. But it was heart-wrenching reading some of what he puts people through and how he doesn't want to be the way he is, but he hasn't figured out how to change yet. So this was by far my favorite of the Dreamland Billionaire series. I gave it 4 stars. I'm pretty sure I gave the other 2 3 stars, so I feel good about that. I don't currently own any of these physically, nor do I think I would. I don't think it's necessary for me because they're not like a total favorite series for me. So, but that was one of the books that I read on my Kindle. Oh, okay. So the next 3 that we're going to talk about, we're just going to talk about as one, even though they're 3 separate books. So I read The Magician's Gambit, Castle of Wizardry, and Enchanter's Endgame. So these are the Belgariad 3, 4, and 5. I busted butt and just got through that series this month. And I'm so glad that I did because it was a phenomenal series. Let me check my ratings on them. So I rated Magician's Gambit a 3 star, and then Castle of Wizardry and Enchanter's Endgame are both 4 stars for me. I think Magician's Gambit just moved a little slow for me, but I love the characters. I love all of the supporting characters. I love the quest that they're on. It's super like an intense world building, it's a really intense magic system and world system, and you just kind of live in it for 5 books, and it's rad. I loved it. I'm so glad my husband talked me into reading it. So overall, I would say that all 5 books would average out to be like I would say 4 star, a 4 star series for sure. Yeah, I would say I feel good about that. So I don't have those physically on me because I gave them to my dad to read for a while. So I can't hold them up to you, but I do own them physically. I reread a book called Insta Family by Linda Cage. I reread it because I thought, so it was a 5-star book when I had read it the first time. And I reread it and was like, I'm not sure why it was 5 stars the first time. It was too long. I re-rated it 3 stars. I stand by that. The premise of the story is what's her name? Lucy. Yes. Lucy is pregnant with the main male character, who is Vaughn. Lucy's pregnant with Vaughn's brother's baby. He passes away. That's all I'm not giving anything away, but Duke is Vaughn's brother and Lucy's pregnant with Duke's baby. Anyway, Duke passes away from cancer, and Lucy finds out she's pregnant after he's passed away. And then Vaughn and Lucy, he starts coming around as the baby's uncle and all of these things, and just a relationship ensues. I just don't know why I rated it 5 stars the first time. It's definitely not a 5-star book, in my opinion. If you love this book, I'm so happy you love it. And I also liked it. I enjoyed it, but it's not a 5-star book for me. I stand by 3 stars for me. Very average. Was too long. If it wasn't quite so long, I might have rated it higher. But I just thought it dragged out a little bit. Okay, this next book. This next book was a TBR jar prompt bookstore, I think set in a bookstore or something like that. So I went with The Echo of Old Books. And let me tell you what, this was a phenomenal book. I rated it 5 stars, and I stand by that, and I will reread it eventually. It was so, so good. Sucked me in. Every second I was reading it, I was feeling something. It was angsty, but not like young angsty, like too young. It was angsty, like, I just want these characters to figure this out. So good. Please read it. It's amazing. It's following Ashlyn and what's his name? Oh gosh. It's the I swear. I can't remember his name. Evan? No. It doesn't say it on here. Anyway, we're following Ashlyn, who acquires rare books for her bookstore that she works at. And she comes across these 2 kind of unpublished, self-published manuscripts. They're pretty old. And the foreword, I believe, on both of them is like they're to each other, and it's super interesting. And she has this ability to pick up the feeling. It's she calls them echoes from books specifically. So people who had read books, they imbue an energy into the book, and she can feel that energy when she opens the book. And so she feels just these vibes and these energies off of these books, and it almost, it doesn't obsess her, but she goes on a mission to find who wrote these books, what the deal is with them. It's so good. It's so good. I love it. By far one of my favorite reads so far this year, and will probably go in my top 10 books of this year. It's a phenomenal book. Everybody should read it. It's so good. And then I think we have just one more. So the last one that I read in the month of February was actually a school read. I read it for my ed class that I'm doing, and it is Dumbing Us Down, The Hidden, I say a lot, you guys. It's annoying. I'm sorry, but I'm also fighting this thing that's going on. Okay, it's Dumbing Us Down, The Hidden Curriculum of Compulsory Schooling. This is written by John Taylor Gatto. He is a 30-year veteran. At this point, when this was written in 1991, I believe he was a retired teacher, but he had been teaching for 30 plus years in the education system, and award-winning teacher, like phenomenal teacher. He taught from like Hollywood to Harlem, like, and all in between. Many different socioeconomic situations, many different school districts. And he writes a book about our education system and how we are pumping out robots. And it is very interesting. I really, really liked it. I did give this 5 stars. It was 124 pages, not super crazy. And it's mostly broken up into small chunks that are really easily digestible. So Very good book. If you are interested in our education system, if you are interested in just school reform, or if you're doing any kind of ed classes, or you are a teacher and you've never read this book, I strongly suggest reading, actually reading anything by John Taylor Gatto. He has a really interesting perspective on schooling in the United States. And yeah, I really liked it. It was a 5-star read for me for sure. It very relevant to what we see kind of happening now in our school system. So that was the last of my February books that I read. 16 books. There was only one book that I didn't make it to that I just kind of kept putting off. And it was Never by Jessa Hastings. I've heard very mixed reviews about it. And so I got a little scared and I read other things instead. So that one's still on my shelf, but it was just a hopeful read for me. And so I'm not feeling too bad that I didn't get to it. But you guys, if you have read any of these books, or if you want to read any of these books, or you have questions about any of them, drop it down in the comments below. Let me know if I can help you out in any way. And yeah, thanks for coming along for my February wrap up. Have a great day. Bye.